confirm it, and then we can actually start doing the show.
Yeah, that stuff.
It would really suck to like not confirm it and have it not record for some reason, which I don't have no idea why I would do that, but you never know. Give it a shot. 1 second. All right. Seems to be working.
It shows it live on my screen. So.
Everybody good? Okay. If everybody can
Wait,
mute.
hey, that was the right. Hold on. Pause. Let me make sure I sent the right YouTube
right
link. Yeah. Hold
on. I'm just gonna. I'll paste it here.
No, I'm just going back to our.
I mean, probably didn't if you went to the one below the. Oops.
Okay, let me double check. I'll just resend it. No, for some reason I sent the right YouTube link. Okay.
Oh, good.
Don't ask me how that happens. I don't know. Fucking, we need an EMP. I'm done with all of this. All right. Yeah, no, we're good. The YouTube, it's just the YouTube links in the patrons chat. So,
is everybody here? Did everybody make it over to the right room?
I think so. If somebody else trickles in, I resent out the links. So
sweet. Okay. All right. Well, welcome back to the Agora Podcast. It's Penguin here always with Sec Agora, and we have I think a tradition since we started the show. I believe every year since we started the show, which has been like 3 or 4 years. A end of the year recap or roundup or panel discussion with some of some folks that you would certainly be familiar with if you're a regular listener of our show. Sec, how you doing today? Uh-oh. There goes one of our guests.
Tired and old and wet.
What did you say?
I'm fine. How are you
away
doing?
What?
Tired, old, and wet.
I just came in from the rain too. Yes, I am. Yeah, basically a little bit less old, but that's about it.
I made the mistake of planning a vacation for next week for the holiday. We're going away for like 2 weeks. So that just means like my life is harder before and after my vacation. So I got a bunch of shit I'm trying to round up and animals and end of the year homestead stuff. And I don't know, just trying to get things wrapped up before I leave next week. And then when I get back, it's just fucking going to be grind time. So I've been going like 7 days a week for like fucking 4 weeks at least.
That's crazy. I haven't been working at all. I have
been
chilling. I've been working. I've been like chilling every weekend other than next weekend just to get everything in by the 25th. I've been absolutely relaxing and just kind of not panicking and just coasting off of our existing business. And I'm very happy to be able to do that in December because, but yeah, definitely working fewer days and trying to keep my expenses down and everything. Because I think it's going to, I think business is going to rebound really nicely in the late February, early March.
Normally I slow down this time of the year, and I was kind of expecting that. And I had like the usual random work, a little trimming, a little of this or that, leaf cleanups and stuff. But then I put in a bunch of proposals with this one customer, expecting to have them do like some of it. And they just said yes to all of it. And then they're like, yes, we also want all this other work too. So I have like a solid month for like 2 people just out for this one customer. So I'm fucking wide open. I'm wide open full time every single day. It doesn't rain till like March, and then I just start all over again.
Yeah. Well, I pretty much set myself up to be busy with everybody. Yeah. I set myself up to be really busy up until Christmas and then take that week off, and then 2 months of just trying to make it. But I got some work doing some work for a family member. Nice project to give me some good hands-on training. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. How's
Right on.
everybody else doing? I guess we want to go around in this circle. BJ, how are you?
I'm miraculously doing actually pretty excellent, all things considered.
How's your hand?
Yeah, you've been doing a
Um,
lot.
yeah, well, my hand is a little bit better than it was 2 days ago, but it's almost back to normal. Dare I say? I it's hard to judge because I'm not doing anything to it except keeping it in a splint and taking it really easy because it needs to heal for a couple more weeks before they take it off of me permanently, or we'll see what the doctor says. But basically, for anybody who didn't know, I fractured my thumb. So um, I'm okay. It's been kind of weird, kind of holding off on making jerky. So um, that's just my side gig. It's not my full-time job. My full-time job is pretty good. And crazily enough, even though I'm in Minnesota, we're having just rain here too. The snow is all melted and it is not a white Christmas yet. So it's kind of disappointing. I'm a Nordic. I'm used to cold weather. I love it. And it's just kind of like muddy and dreary, and that's it. We're not having really Christmas right now. So hopefully, maybe we'll have some snow soon, but I don't know. Business wise, work is okay. Work is work, but kind of ornery because I got one of my business partners. He likes to pay my rent by check for tax purposes, and so I let him do that. But he's not giving me enough billable hours for the next 2 months, and it's starting to drive me insane. So I got that to deal with. But other than that, everything's good. This will be technically our second Christmas that we've had without my mom, because last Christmas we put it off thinking, well, we'll just get together when she gets out of the hospital, but that didn't happen. And so my family is kind of weird. And, when it comes to my mom, she kind of held us together. She was like the glue. It was the reason we all got together all the time. And this Christmas, it looks like it won't be a bust because we're all going to get together at my sister's boyfriend's in Wisconsin. So hopefully we have some fun, maybe start some new traditions. It's not going to be the same, but it's still better than just everybody flaking out, which is what people would like to do if my mom wasn't involved, if that makes sense. Other than that, doing pretty good. Back from my month-long trek all over the continent of Europe, which was just something that I did to shake up, get some adventure in my life, immerse myself into, I guess, parts of my heritage, I guess you could say. And now that I'm back, I'm really happy about it. So took me
in case
a
anybody
lot of
hasn't,
money and a lot of traveling to basically learn that America is the best country ever. So, I mean, even on a shit day, we're still the best.
just in case this is like somebody's first time ever listening to our show, who are you and what do you do?
Oh, sure. I'm BJ. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm a native of St. Paul, Minnesota, and I am in web/IT. My business partner and I run a web hosting company. I'm also a dev/front end, back end designer for websites. All our customers are small businesses. I'm trying to reach out in more anarchist businesses. I'm happy to show people how to accept Bitcoin online instead of credit cards for their e-commerce websites and things like that. And then on the side, I basically do a lot of home canning and preserving, and I make jerky and people buy it from me. And that's, I guess, me in a nutshell. And I'm 50 years old, and I've worked for myself for going on 20 years. So.
Well, awesome. Let's go around and do like introductions just in case anybody doesn't know who these people are, but you should if you're a listener to this show.
Right.
Rayo, I know you got a hard stop. Does anybody else have like time restraint? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Wow, man, I'm good.
Okay. Well, let's start with Rayo then. Rayo, why don't you introduce yourself? A friend of the show. If for some reason this is somebody's first time listening to us.
Yeah. So I definitely have at least an hour. At least another hour. But appreciate the invitation on. Good to be with all you guys. But yeah, my name is Shane Rayo too. I run the Agora Podcast. I guess coordinate the Free Republic of Pasnia, a parallel network, based off the principles of voluntarism. Basically, just replacing that society of coercion with basically all those same human necessities. And doing it upon a foundation of freedom and voluntarism. So, otherwise, I've got 22-acre homestead here, Chekhov Veritas, Pasnia, and we raise a lot of animals. Do a lot of stuff here, and I guess for the moment, been transitioning away from, or I guess it's winter time, so homesteading stuff is slowed down. And we just got back into publishing. I guess the other thing I do is Libertarian type publications, which we publish freedom-focused books like anarchist fiction, liberty fiction, strategy guides, Vonu zines from the 1960s and 70s. We republish those, I guess, in book format. And then we also offer privacy tools like ghost phones, like degoogled, Calyx OS, ghost phones, and also Graphene OS ghost phones, and then ghost pads. So basically the same thing, just freedom and privacy enhanced laptops and phones.
Wow, I did not know
we
that.
just
That's really
we
awesome.
just Yeah, and we just added. I mean, it's LUA publication, so it was basically just books, but now Aura's got her apothecary stuff on there, so you can get apothecary items. I just added Pasnia Farms category for canned goods right now. So yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff on there, but at the end of the day, I guess that's what we do primarily is publish books and help authors through the publishing process, and that's been pretty much what I've been doing the past week or two is getting a bunch of book projects that have kind of been kind of been pushed off a little bit because as anyone with a homestead knows, you kind of got to focus on that in the summer. Lots of projects wrapped up, and then it's like we got a big one coming up for I guess which I don't know if we talked about it yet publicly, but I got one working on there, and there's a lot of other really cool projects in the works. A really good anthology of liberty fiction, but I'm really excited to get out. So lots going on this end.
Cool.
Awesome. Gonzo, man, I dig your profile pic. Where's that from?
Cam Harless made that for me.
Really?
Yeah.
That looks cool as shit. I just picked up a tarot deck from John Vibes, and it looks a lot of the tarot cards are exactly like that same style. It's very fucking trippy.
He made that for me, and I told him like now I have to go buy a van because that absolutely needs to be airbrushed on the side of it, like a vintage van.
Riding a unicorn with a fucking farting rainbows.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And purple. Yeah, purple colored van. Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Well, Gonzo, who are you?
Well, I am a esteemed Pope of the Chilluminati, for one. I'm basically your friendly local degenerate ex-podcaster, sometimes homesteader, currently remodeling a giant concrete sculpture bunker house that we recently moved into in northeast Ohio.
That place is really cool looking. It looks fucking very Hobbit.
Oh, it's insane, man. Yeah, all the memes about, you talk a lot of shit for somebody that lives in a flammable house. Like, no, I don't.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah, it's really cool. A lot of work to do. It was built in 1970, so not a lot of updates since then, but it's solid. And, I mean, 6-inch thick concrete walls and 36 square hundred feet of projects. So looking
Now,
forward to
what
doing
was
that.
it before? Like, was it just some hippie weirdos owned it before, or like what? Was it just a house?
There was a family that commissioned a sculptor. Wayne Trapp was his name. They commissioned him in 1970 to build a house for them and their 8 children. So, over half the house is a children's wing of bedrooms that are connected by tunnels, and there's like a playroom with a ball pit and tunnels that go up to the roof, and you can look out of like uh, portals up there. It's not a sniper's nest as much as it seems to be one. Um, yeah, so basically, it's like a live-in sculpture. It was built from the ground up to make children happy.
It looks really fucking cool. I'll be happy to come
I
visit.
did see that on my feed. And I'm like, what is going on here? What is he living in? But now
Yeah,
I know it is something very unusual and strange. I was like, okay, that's exactly what it is. It's
Yeah,
exactly
it
as it
kind of
looks.
I'm curious now. I'm not seeing
Yeah,
this.
Gonzo, are you on Twitter, Gonzo, or is this something on your Discord, or what is this?
no. I'm on Twitter. I The house itself has an account. It's going to be kind of a little bit separate from Gonzo because, well, I don't want the house to have to suffer from my bad takes and shit posting, but yeah, I post about it a little bit. Yeah, it's neat because it predates the whole like Earthship movement. Earthships came a little bit later, but it incorporates a lot of that, like the principles of thermal mass, and it's really neat. It's never going to be a homestead. It's only an acre, but there will be a fair amount of guerrilla gardening because it's surrounded by hundreds of acres of state-owned land. And
Oh fuck yeah! Just plan on their shit. Just call
right,
it the food forest. There you go.
There you go.
the way I see it, if it's state-owned, that means it's mine, right?
It's yours
Right.
now. Yeah, just go over there and start homesteading it. You know.
That's the plan.
Well, fuck yeah.
Living the dream.
Yes.
And you can do a lot with fucking 1 acre. I'll tell you what. But if you had to,
If I have to.
yeah. So, hey, so we can talk about whatever, but the idea I had was that we can kind of talk about some cool shit that happened this year that you guys have been into, and then like things you look forward to for the next year. So, Gonzo, you kind of already did that. You guys bought yourself a cool ass house. You'll be doing that. Rayo, what do you got? What were you up to this year, and what do you got going on this coming year?
Yeah. So I guess really my mind right now is pretty much wholly on. I mentioned, focusing on more indoor stuff, digital stuff, and we've been really busy with Pasnia, doing what I guess we call Pasnia SecRealm assemblies, and I guess we could call them our meetings of our Department of Technology. And basically, there's lots of different topics, but we've been really focused on, I guess, just as an example, last night we had another meeting, and we were talking about Jitsi, which is a really great self-hosted, encrypted, peer-to-peer chat platform. Very much like a replacement. I see as potential replacement to Zoom. Like I guess for our overall vision for it, but yeah, basically, just like we're building, all human institutions. I mean, one of those things, if we're going to communicate digitally, we have to own our technology. Has to be open source, has to be auditable, has to be vetted. And it can't be spying on us. It can't be working against us. So, and yeah, centralized, trusted third parties are not good unless they're, part of our trusted vetted network. So we've been doing a lot, I guess, in the realm of self-hosting. But then looking into just within the past week, got to start testing on open. It's called Nextcloud, and there's integrations for OpenStreetMaps. There's integrations for Jitsi. Open Office. So like if you think about it, it's basically like our own, it'd be like a Pasnia cloud network, I guess you could say. We could have collaboration on Open Office, our own, Jitsi, our own like Jitsi chats, much like what we're doing now. open street maps for, which I've been promising. I've been working on it very slowly and getting submissions. But one of the features of Pasnia Network is our Pasnia map and directory, which basically shows somewhat close, security culture principles in mind. We don't actually have, we aren't going to dox ourselves. We're not going to ask you to, but we want to have, a visual, map put together for people to, know what's available. And that integration is available on Nextcloud. So there's going to be a lot of research and development in the next, even within the next month, but especially over the next few months to get those out. Because while it is digital, I mean, these are digital tools that will very much help us to facilitate things in physical space and time. So yeah, I guess that's digitally. Otherwise, homestead stuff. We just got. I've been holding off on expanding the ruminant pen, or I guess the ruminant pasture, and doing a lot of stuff there because we're gonna hopefully be building a house the next few years, and we actually just got a pond built on the property. So now I know where the pond's gonna be. Got big ideas for, for raising a lot of really good pastured lamb and goats. So that's really kind of the big thing, and I want to expand the chicken and the turkey pen, get them some more room to free range and such. But I guess that's pretty much what's on my mind right now. Really, looking forward to more progress in the digital realm, so we can do a lot more cool things in physical space and time.
Is the pond done? It's totally done.
The pond's done. And really we're just waiting for it to fill up now. Right. Which could take a little bit. But it's nice big ponds, deep enough in the center for geothermal, and we get the house put in. So we'll have off-grid heating and air basically, from the start. We've got I guess I don't know what they're called, but they're metal tunnels that go down to the very bottom of the pond. Where we can pump out, we can drop a pump down in there, and never have to worry about water hoses freezing, or I guess hoses freezing or anything over the winter. And they'd be fed with pond water, and we could do the same down the road. We have a well, which we're probably going to use the well, but my parents pull their house water out of the pond, and they do geothermal. They kind of test out the geothermal first too, but. Yeah, it'll be really nice. I'm excited for it to fill up in a year or two, and it'll add a lot more self-sufficiency, and it looks really good, and it's a really good step forward. So yeah,
awesome. Right on. So you're focusing. You're going to expand the herd this year, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely expand it, but I want to. One of the things, trying to actually, bring in some income on the homestead. So I want to raise, I raise all our lambs on organic grains when they do get fed grains, which is a few 3 or 4 days a week. And then they, just get pasture. So the guy that I got my initial batch of lambs from, he takes a big herd of them to the auction, and you don't get as much, but you drop them off live. You don't have to process them. So I want to raise like initial herd of like 12, and not really feed them that great, because I mean they don't pay anymore if you feed them good. So why would I do that? But yeah, I guess that's I'll kind of expand for personal, and for hopefully some for auction too. But yeah, it's kind of the
offset your cost. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. All right. You got anything else?
Not really. No. I guess I guess I'll mention. It's another year. We had another year of gatherings here at Veritas Pasnia. So we have 5 or 6 gatherings in the second round of the year, official ones, and then people are welcome to come out. Van Nomads stop through here when they're traveling. People come out and visit whenever. Got a lot of land, so always love to have people visit. But I just lost my train of thought. But gatherings. Yeah, let's talk about gatherings. The network's always getting stronger. There's a lot of just personal bonds and relationships that are getting stronger. I'll mention we've had our gatherings here, but Sec, we had you had your thing at your place, and it was another incredible time. Met Gonzo there. Got to meet Penguin. So a lot of folks in the digital realm that I really I've had a chance to meet them, and it's great. So these digital relationships are becoming real, and solid relationships are being formed and developed. So that's obviously the most critical part of a vetted or parallel network or something like that is that's with solid relationships and trust and all that. So yeah, it's important. It's amazing to see. So I guess that's really all I have. Yeah.
Right on. BJ, you've been traveling a lot this year, but what else you been doing this year? What are you doing next year? That kind of stuff.
Well, I guess just the usual. I mean, nothing too exciting. I didn't get a garden done this year just because late last winter was a nightmare and inherited some things that my small apartment couldn't hold, which got in the way of my sort of corner of the apartment that I dedicated towards seedlings and things like that. So it's just I wasn't able to shuffle everything around, but I do plan on starting up seeds again, probably in March at the earliest, because as you guys know, our zone 4 is very short growing season. So our last, quote unquote, danger of frost day would be like May 9th, between the 9th and the 11th. Usually if it's warm enough, I'll go with like the 6th or the 7th. So I'm going to just do the same thing as I've always done, which is like a salsa garden. You could call it that. Basically, since I'm carnivore, and I'll grow whatever else any my local anarchist folks and friends that I network with. And any of those guys want to grow something, I'm willing to grow that too for them. A lot of the folks that I network with are apartment dwellers or don't have the kind of space that they would like to have if they wanted to do, say, containers or something. And of course, being in zone 4 makes gardening a little difficult for just about everybody, whether or not you live in an apartment. I've got a friend in Wisconsin who did a greenhouse project this past year and they're almost finished with it. And they're already got hothouse stuff in there like tomatoes and citrus even. And so that's something that's really cool to share, I guess. It's not me, but it's, it's a friend. So I guess when it comes to, doing my GFY stuff, GYF stuff, go fuck yourself, grow your own food, whatever. I'm a little behind, but I'm excited for spring. We'll see what happens. And not a whole lot else going on except we started doing a regular monthly Agora outside at one of our members' businesses. They own a shop that does muffler repairs and stuff, and so we've been able to have our little tents up, and got my buddy that's a DJ comes out, and then somebody else comes out with their stuff that they've made, and we invite people to come, sell things that they've made or demonstrate things, get people to sign up for our little group. So I'm just concentrating on growing my little group and just working. And, I don't have a lot of exciting things to report, really. Just, I'm still a noob with a lot of this stuff. And so, we're just trucking along. But business is okay. And life is like pretty good, everything considered. So, yep.
Life is good. Where did you, if you don't mind sharing, where did you travel in Europe? You were fucking everywhere, and every day it seemed like you were somewhere else. Where did you travel? How was that?
Yeah, so I landed in London, went out to Chicago because there wasn't any direct flights from Minneapolis that I wanted. I think I told you guys, I think it was in August or something, that I was listening to some folks talking about, they were reading some Lou Rockwell stuff, which I'm not, a big fan of his, but some of the stuff that comes across my desk is sometimes interesting. And there was this big article that a lot of Americans didn't know about was the EU and the European Union. As you guys know, a few years back, maybe almost starting with like 10 years ago, they were much more open to, migration and stuff. They had a lot of open border policy things going on. Well, coming in 2024, they're going to start shutting all that shit down. And if you're not a citizen, you have to now have a visa, which I've looked at some of the stuff that they're asking people, and I can send you guys a link if you're interested in perusing it. It's very, very much a workup of all your private business. You have to tell people, like, even if you're just going to Europe for a weekend, anything visit under 90 days, you have to have a complete like background check and all this other shit. And, I wasn't super interested in visiting really early, but I've always had it on my bucket list just, because I'm a fucking white person. And so a lot of my heritage is over there, it's, and so I was like, I'm just going to go before this 2024 thing hits. I just get it over with. I just bumped it to the top of my bucket list. So I went to London for 5 days, and had a lot of sightseeing there. As a Christian, I was very interested in seeing, a lot of the Anglican churches and a lot of the historic stuff over there. And then I went from London to Paris via the tunnel. I mean, the English Channel, I should say, which takes you over. You can either take a tunnel train or you can take the ferry. So when I say tunnel, I meant to say channel. But so I took the ferry over to Paris. I'm not a fan of Paris, but it's really the easiest way to get onto the continent from London is to go by Paris. So I was there for a couple days. I hated it. It smelled like pee. Everybody's mean. What else? It wasn't like on my bucket list. It was just like a stopover. So, and then I went from Paris to Brussels, which was really cool because I don't know how much you guys know about Brussels, but Belgium is an interesting country. And a lot of people think, oh, you're going to go to Antwerp and no, I didn't go to Antwerp. I went to Brussels. And then I went to this little town in Belgium called Ghent. It's kind of like, it's like the Belgian version of Vienna, the town that's surrounded by water and built on water. Very, very cool. A lot of culture.
I'd like to go there.
Yeah, a lot of culture. It's one of those towns that's like, it's very popular for tourists to just walk through and be done in a day. Like you don't even have to stay longer than a day. It's interesting. I have a lot of photos to share that I haven't finished sharing. I went from Belgium to Munich. I was in Munich for 4 days, and that was mostly by accident. I had some people that I wanted to visit over there, and I stayed in what's called a hostel. Some of them call them party hotels because a lot of them most people are like under 30. And I mean, it's not hardcore. It's just a lot of individuals that travel. And the one thing that we have in common is that we're mostly single and we travel a lot. And so that was really fun. They dragged me out to a club and I was like not having it, but then they made me have fun anyway. And then I did see some sights while I was in Munich. I went to one of the cathedrals there during Mass. And then I also went to the plaza where they have the Glockenspiel and the little historical crap. And then from Belgium, I went to, from Munich, I went to Rome, which is a little bit of a nightmare because that's where I had my accident. I had to be seen at an ER that's for orthopedic. So like they have different ERs for different reasons. So like if you hurt a bone or something, you go to the orthopedic ER. If you hurt I don't know, there's different. And anyway, so they treat people and they'll see people and they don't charge you. And thank goodness my friends in Spain actually work in international medicine, insurance and networking. And so they like sent me there. They're like, here's the directions, blah, blah, blah. So I got a fracture. It's minor. Everything's great. I don't need surgery. I went from Rome to a town called Orvieto, which is a hill town that overlooks all these beautiful like farmlands and all this stuff. Everybody over there makes their own food. There's hardly any kind of grocery stores, and the stores they do have are open air markets. One little guy running a shop that's like the size of your closet, and everybody there is having a great day. And there's this giant cathedral that takes over the whole square, and it's gorgeous. I went in there. It was off hours for Mass, so it wasn't like I went in there for church, but I did get to view the inside. It was really amazing. And if you guys like Michelangelo or any of that stuff, these frescoes inside this Italian cathedral were done by his master, like his sort of person he looked up to was Signorelli. And it's just one of those things where you go to these places and you're just overwhelmed by the history of it all. And from Italy, I went to Spain, and I spent 10 days there. I was in Barcelona, and then I had friends in Madrid that hosted me, and were very lovely gentlemen. And refused to let me pay for anything, even though I tried to argue with them. Took in a lot of culture. We went on a lot of little day trips, went to Toledo. And then I went back up to London for one more night and just relax and walk around some more. And from London back to Chicago and home. And in a month, I was in like 12 cities. I mean, I don't really count Stockholm and Copenhagen, but that's part of the 12 because those were just layovers. But it was an adventure. I got on my rut. I got to see a lot of really cool stuff, but I also had something stupid happen almost every day, and I got homesick almost immediately. So now that I've had some time and gained some perspective, some distance, I appreciate almost every place that I was at. So I can't complain.
What is if you don't mind me asking, what did that run you? Like if I wanted to take my family of 4 to do that, what are we talking about?
Well, first of all, no, for me, I did like the really shoestring method, which was basically my round trip ticket from London, not including Chicago, but from London and back. That was $790, and I forget the tax. All my hotels were like mostly apartments that I would rent, where it's like somebody didn't live there, they just ran it as a property. So kind of like an Airbnb type thing, but it's just a different company. So I would say for transportation alone was about $1,500, including the round trip ticket, probably $1,600. And this is for one person. And also you have to plan some of these train trips and stuff ahead of time, because if you want to, let's say, oh, I'm going to go to the next city over or the next country over, and you have like a day's notice, you're going to be paying like a lot more. It just depends. There's some regional trains and some regional planes that are always the same price. So like there's budget airlines over there and budget train lines over there. I would say transportation alone, $1,600 for one person. My meals and things like that, I would say I probably spend about €30 a week. And that's because most of the places I would go to, I made sure that there was a supermarket in that neighborhood or a few blocks away or half a mile away. And I would go to the stores and I would shop like I was local, go back to my place, and I would cook. Every place I stayed, except for 2 hotels, were like a full house, like a person's house. And so I was able to do laundry and cook. So you're thinking $30 to $40 a week for food. I didn't dine out much. When I did, it was like, I'm at a train station, I'm stuck here for 5 hours, and I go to like a little deli, or I go to McDonald's and I get quarter pounders and throw the buns away. And that's, and if you think inflation here is bad, I paid almost $12 for a double Whopper. And I didn't even eat all the stuff it comes with. I just pull the meat out of the wrapper and I like throw everything else away, and I hold the wrapper with the meat in it and eat it. And it tastes exactly like it tastes here. And so I know I'm just getting meat. So I guess $30, $40 a week on food. And then I didn't buy a lot of other stuff like souvenirs. I think I spent like $80 on souvenirs. I accidentally did have to also add $500 to my transportation budget. I had to dig into my credit card, emergency credit card, because I screwed something up when I hurt myself. I missed 2 connections. One train ride was almost €200, and the connecting train ride was €117. Now in USD, that's over 300 some dollars. So, and then staying at another different place because I was in the wrong town. So I had to have another emergency, like staying at another place, like overnight. But I would say if you're taking 4 people, if you have 4 people total and you're not trying to do a budget, where I basically had 3 days worth of clothes and all kinds of personal things. And I had it in a 38-liter backpack. And then I used like one of those portable wheelie things where you strap the backpack to it and you can wheel it around if you're like in a station or in an airport. And then you can tuck that back in your backpack and then wear the backpack when you're walking on cobblestone or upstairs or things like that. I mean, I was literally backpacking. This was not a luxury trip. My laptop was with me. My mouse was with me. I got cables and chargers and all kinds of stuff that fit Euro plugs and UK plugs. So I did spend a pretty penny on equipment. And so I would say that was a couple $100 for my backpack, for my tech, that kind of stuff. And then I guess my incidentals, I would say about $100, because when I had my injury, I had to go to pharmacies. I had to get tape. I had to get ibuprofen, things like that, because I ran out. So you're looking at, I would say, $3,500 minimum.
I was going to say $3 or $4 grand. Yeah.
For one person.
Right.
For the travel, the food, the gear, and the incidentals. So I believe my Amazon and my Kohl's receipts is about 200 and something for my backpack and my suitcase and all those kinds of things. But was it worth it? Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, there's only 2 places I stayed that weren't like a house. So I was able to wash my clothes in those places. And, I just lived like a local everywhere I went. It saved hundreds of dollars. And I wasn't trying to dine out because, frankly, I can cook better than most restaurants. I don't care if they're 5-star Michelin or whatever the fuck, And I have a very strict diet, so.
Right. Cool. So yeah, I'm looking at like 16 grand to take the family to go there.
At least. Well, and that's just like,
and that's even, like bare minimum. Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at shoestring, you're looking at 10 grand at least. But
yeah, it's harder to do shoestring with kiddos.
Yeah, and if you have your spouse with you, you're talking about making decisions together. And when you're by yourself, you're like, fuck it, I'm staying here and nobody's here to argue with me. I'm going to go eat this. Nobody's going to argue with me. I'm going to go to this particular sightseeing thing today instead of tomorrow. And you can stand by your own decisions. But when you have a group, everybody has to agree on what we're going to do today. And it can make things more expensive. And also you're going to want to stay in a nice hotel that takes care of every need, because at the end of the day, you're going to be like, fuck, and I'm so exhausted. And it is exhausting. And you're going to be walking around everywhere. Like, I think I spent an average of 5 hours just on my feet walking around cities every day, almost every day. And at night, wherever I was staying, plug in the laptop and get more work done, because my customers are 7 hours behind me. So I'm able to meet their needs, but it's at night. So anyway, it was interesting. Thanks.
Yeah, it sounds cool. Sounds cool. Very cool. Well, we're glad you're back and fucking your hand's not completely fucked. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Penguin, what about you, man? What are you stoked about this coming year? What did you do this year?
Yeah, I'm kind of getting into the groove where it's starting to normalize, just small business lifestyle and business itself. So it's kind of like it's working. It's something that I'm committed to in the long term, and it's just kind of seeing, where it takes me, where the market takes me. And some things, sometimes some of the development is kind of spontaneous and reacting to like what's going on with the market, with the economy, what's services and stuff are in demand. And I mean, I've seen a shift from kind of what the circumstances might have suggested when I started running my business versus kind of what we've gotten to now. I couldn't have predicted what people were, what essentially the customers are willing to pay for and what people are asking for. But definitely trying to just kind of increase my skill sets, my organization, a little bit of self-discipline. Just trying to kind of become a better for the future, for expansion, trying to become a better administrator and admin, a secretary, all that stuff, keeping better records, getting bookkeeping and everything. Now that I'm not just kind of completely overwhelmed physically and mentally by the bare minimum day-to-day operations of the business, instead of just kind of clicking back and resting on my laurels, I really need to stop flying by the seat of my pants and kind of doing things as if, this is kind of a small enterprise that I can kind of just wing it and not, keep great records and not really be not have everything completely archived, not be running a company phone even though we have one. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting that on the ground so that when we are expanding to size and scope to the point where I would need to actually do these things, they're already in place because we're doing things the right way and everything. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Definitely trying to expand, definitely getting to the point where really cool decisions will have to be made, even if they're really difficult, even if there's the necessary risk and entrepreneurship involved, and further, and it can be rough because I'm getting a little bit up there in years, to kind of a further deferral of taking profits or whatever, and kind of investing that back in the business. But within this scope of what I'm able to do, I'm looking forward to getting what the real plan is in running a small business on the road. So that's where I've been, and that's where I'm going to continue to go. But things are looking good, and of course, we have a election year coming up, and a particularly strange election year. And I mean, they're all strange. There's only so many of them, and they all have their unique circumstances. But I hope the whatever happens, I hope it doesn't cause the economy to totally shit the bed in any kind of way that would hurt me. Other than that, I mean, I don't think anything is particularly damaging as far as my lifestyle. I mean, you never know, knock on wood, but hopefully things stay. Hopefully things, society doesn't totally collapse in the next couple of years, so I can get some resources together and have a little bit of spare time to kind of do the things that I want to do in life that maybe I've been in a position where I've had to defer, and kind of get some resources and savings and some prepping done and planning out of the way. In the not the inevitable, but in the possibility that things do in some way decline. But overall, pretty positive outlook for, I don't know, the area that I live and everything. I feel like I live in a place where a lot of, I mean, this is going to sound kind of silly, but I live in a place where a lot of goofiness doesn't occur. It's a very centrist place. I live in a place where it doesn't seem like we're going to make the national news for any particular reason, or especially any particular like ideologically linked reason. Like nothing will happen here. Nothing seems to happen here that's localized as far as like national news stories. And you could potentially live here. I mean, it's very, like I said, it's very involved. A lot of people employed by federal government, federal contractors and stuff like that. So, I mean, it has that kind of downside, but it actually creates, kind of a mix, such a heterogeneous, I don't know, in some ways it's homogeneous, in some ways it's heterogeneous mix, but it creates a place where I live where it's like the national news controversies that are really quite stupid and pointless and doesn't actually necessarily is indicative of where real world events are actually going, you know what I mean? But a lot of things don't happen. I've said this before on the podcast. I've never seen any of the weird stuff on the news, whether it's, riots or looting or communists or Nazis in the streets or anything like that. Never in my life pretty much ever seen that. So, knock on wood, things are looking up. And I've become, I'm still just a big, obviously, pro free market, free enterprise guy. And I see nothing wrong with the, my lifestyle, my commercial lifestyle, and my business. It's all one unified thing, where we exist to do business, trade, and serve others, and all in the same go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the challenges of the new year, and hopefully this will be kind of one that is, a little pivotal, a little bit transformative to bigger and better things.
Good deal. Good luck to you, man. I know you're just getting over that first couple of year hump, and then After that, it's just going to
Yeah,
be the
it's a
problem of too
doozy.
much work. Yeah. After that, it's the problem of having too much work.
Can't wait.
That's awesome. Because I know when we talked to you about in the last couple of years, it seemed like you sound like way more chipper about it and positive about the future. So.
Yeah, I mean it's all. I mean it is literally what Sex said. It's literally all about customer base. Like all the work that I've done is just creating a customer base, reputation, just a customer base of people that I can just make a bare minimum living, just kind of coasting. So that anything more that I do or anything more that comes along, and it's a lot easier when it comes along on its own accord. If that means, I mean, I'm a religious guy. God will provide, but like it's a lot less cost when you're not paying to market your business, when you're not
100%.
seeking opportunities wherever they are, even if they're 20, 25 miles away, or even less. That's a lot of driving, a lot of time for a kind of low margin business, that I do, essentially low margin business in many cases. Or if it's like a regular service calls kind of deal, it's really tough. So really trying to get this business down to a very streamlined, very limited geographic region. Gas and driving time will absolutely kill you in a route-based business.
Absolutely. And even I'm not a landscaper, so I can't have any expertise, but in any business, the marketing is literally 3/4 of the battle. And once you've got word of mouth and you've got your networking and all that stuff sounds like it's in place. And so, like you said, you're able to just serve the people that already know about you, and that's it. And that really does make it easier.
Let me
Yep. And then
let me ask Ray a question since he's got to leave. Oh, sorry, man. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm going to ask this to everybody.
Go ahead.
I'm going to give Rayo a chance to answer this before he's got to scoot. What do you think about the state of the world? And are you optimistic, pessimistic, nervous? What do you think about the future of humans?
I guess it's a big question, but I don't know. I mean, I look back at Rayo's writings in the '60s, and then another person instrumental in my path was Bill Cooper, and I mean, a lot of the stuff like the Servile Societies existed. Like I guess we're seeing. I mean, there may be bigger and smaller events, but there's nothing really out of the ordinary. The behavior of the Servile Societies, things are progressing as you would kind of expect it to if you look back into history at all. So. I mean, as far as like overall, I mean, yeah, there's certainly with, the past few years, things are becoming more apparent, and those, those few folks who can be shaken awake, or, they could be, a great part of the, second realm, a great part of the Pasadena network. So like, I guess as far as like large scale, not really super optimistic, but, I mean, I do see, I definitely do see, some positives. On individual levels with some people. So I think that's really the most optimistic. And then, I mentioned some of the stuff that's happening with, the second round with the Pasadena network. And, regardless of what's happening in the Servile Society, we can build, and we can, we can build digitally, and we can get together in physical space and time and do a lot of really amazing stuff, regardless of what's transpiring. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much the long and short of it from my perspective. Not a super long answer, but yeah, it's probably not going to change much year by year. It really is. I mean, we're gonna see. I mean, I kind of thought, like, especially with the lack of, I guess, with a lot of the stuff that was happening in physical space and time on the homestead, I didn't get a lot of stuff done in the digital realm that I wanted to, but a lot of that focus is starting to happen now. And yeah, I have a big vision. I've talked about it on some podcasts, but it's hard to put into words, hard to fully illustrate. So I just recommend for anyone that's interested, just check out the Vani podcast, and check out our assembly. I just released the Pasadena Second Realm Assembly from last night. We talked about JITSI, and then funding for Department of Technology projects and Second Realm projects in general. So yeah, it's keeping the focus, attention, and keeping, funneling, finances from the first realm to the second realm. It's, all of those very important things, putting them on building the new and not so much on, so much on what's transpiring in the old, because that's, the same old story. That really hasn't changed, but we can build something new. So that's kind of what my focus is.
Yeah, we can exist in the cracks, as they say.
Yeah, we can hide, but still exist and thrive. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I think that's the best course moving forward for sure. Do you got a scoot, or you gonna stick around for a bit?
I'll stick around for a bit. Yeah, at least another, at least half hour or so. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Oh yeah, we probably won't go much longer than that anyway. All right. So well, all right. Let me. I'll be last. This year. Well, first off, this year we had our gathering, which is our second annual gathering. Most of you in this room were there, except BJ. She bailed. Punk.
I didn't bail.
Yeah, you've got to make it something, BJ.
My passport wasn't here yet, and
That's
I wasn't trying to get a U.S. one and an international one, and
I'm just giving you shit.
I wanted to be there so bad.
But
yes, maybe in a few years we'll have a national AgoraCon.
What's that? What'd you say?
He said AgoraCon.
Maybe in a few years we'll have a national AgoraCon. BJ can,
there you go.
Can host that or something. Yeah, no, I've met everybody in this room except BJ. So, looking forward to meeting more of our associates, as you say.
Yeah, fellow popes. Yes.
Accomplices.
Yes. It was a fucking great time, and like Gonzo said, it was nonstop bacon. The entire, there was bacon on the fire all weekend long.
And rub it in, why don't you?
Oh, man, so much food.
It was so good.
Yeah. Oh man, that fire was going all weekend, and it was just food all fucking weekend long and cooking on the fire.
Offending vegans in the tri-state area.
Yeah, probably. I don't think. Do we have any vegan guests? I don't think so. No,
we're entirely too cool for all that.
But me and my other half, we got married at the fest, which was good.
By a fucking wizard, no less.
By two wizards, not just one wizard, two wizards. It was a fun time, like in some sense we were already married, like she's my wife. We were married in every sense but legal, but it's good to have a ritual, so we had a little ritual with our friends, and that was a good time. Very happy. That made me very happy. But I've been going I'm an insane person, so I've been going pretty crazy this year. Building or maintaining the homestead that we live on now, and then also building another homestead. I'm focusing on trying to produce more of my own meat. So I've been building another homestead up the road from us, about a half hour up the road, on a couple of acres. Just putting in fencing. We've got rabbits. I plan to get meat birds when I get back from vacation. Goats, sheep. Somebody was trying to talk me into pigs. I might do pigs. I don't know. But some turkey and that, and then just up until now, I've just been sort of trading for meat from people I know that produce meat, and then now I got to pull the trigger and start making it myself, or growing meat myself, and so doing that. And also we rent where we are now, which we like it here, but it's hard to justify dumping a bunch of capital into a place that you rent. So we've been looking at property. So I'll probably be building another homestead once we find the property we want. We kind of want to buy raw land, and clear it and build a house exactly how we want it. And so that's what we've been doing. And then my business exploded this year, so which is good. I'm making decent money in that, and business is good, but I've been fucking working nonstop all this year, and I'll be doing that all this winter and probably all next year too. But that's just what I do. Turning 40 here in a month or two. Wait, month. Yeah, a month. Less than a month. Yeah. Yeah, BJ says take it super easy on your vacay time off. No, we're going on a road trip. So I'll be driving. You know how it is. It's like you need a vacation after you get back from your vacation. Yeah, no, we'll be driving. We're taking a road trip. We're going to see friends along the way on the way up north, and then see some of my family for the holiday. And then
You're like a punk Clark Griswold.
kind of, yeah. Yeah, we're doing Christmas vacation road trip. So
Awesome.
I'm gonna wear my ass out, and then I'll probably take a day off once I get back to do nothing, and then it's fucking go time. And so yeah, that's our move recently. Is I mean, we already make our own produce, our own pickles, our own medicine, our own soap. I mean, I don't. My lovely wife does. I'm the raw labor, you know. So I just help produce the ingredients for these things, and then she's the wizard who turns my kitchen into a chemistry lab. But so we've got all that kind of stuff down, you know. We produce all that. It's we just need to make the move to start producing more of our own proteins and stuff. I mean, we already have chickens for eggs and that, but I'm gonna go a bit harder with that. We're gonna get like 30 layers and then just start selling eggs. And much for the same reason, like Rayo mentioned before about just getting more goats to sell them at auction or whatever. I don't care so much about making like a profit, but if I can get it to pay for itself, that's fucking awesome. If I get food, you know, if I make enough at farmers markets and stuff to pay for the infrastructure cost and food and whatever, and I get all the free food, that's enough. Yeah, breaking even, like PJ saying here. Yeah, as long as it's a wash at least, I'm a happy man. It just takes some work doing it. I mean, I'll take making money too, but you know, I want it to at least pay for itself. And I started selling firewood too, so now I got piles of logs to cut through and split and sell and deliver and all that shit. Because you know, apparently I just hate my own body or something, so I just keep just fucking man.
You just diversified like tenfold. That was amazing.
Yes, yeah, no,
that was a big year for you. This was a big year for you, man, for sure, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been doing a lot. I've been working at least 6 days a week, every week, if not 7, all year. Between my business here, and shout out to my wife because she takes care of a lot of the stuff around here because I'm either at work or working at our other homestead. But yeah, I've been either working at the business around here doing, you know, basic stuff and you know, harvesting and all that, and clearing, you know, logging basically at our other property up the road, or putting in fencing or whatever the thing. So so far all we got is rabbits, but I will be getting some meat birds when I get back from. It was no sense getting them now before we go away for 2 weeks. So I'm going to wait till I get back and then get, I don't know, 10, 15 meat birds, and then start with that. Because I have the tendency to, like, when I do something, I'll just go fucking way too big with it every single time, because that's just how I do it. So I'm gonna, so I was like, I know I'm gonna build enough tractors to get fucking 30 to 50 meat birds. And now I'm like,
I want 100 ducks.
Right. Yeah, nope. Seriously.
Nope.
Because I'm like, well, I can take that surplus and I can do this and I can do that and I can buy all the feed in bulk and blah, 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 blah. And it'll be cheaper. And I'm like, no, just start with fucking 10. I'm going to start with 10 because that's probably enough chicken for us for a while. You know what I mean? Start with 10. butcher those, get your fucking, get used to that before you get 50 of them. You know what I mean? So, we're going to start with like 10 or 15 of them and maybe a couple of turkey and then go from there. Because I've already got the chicken tractors built for that amount. So I don't have to build any more tractors right now. I can just get 10 meat birds or so and just start with them, butcher them. And then right before they're ready to butcher, I can get like 10 more, and then they're in the brooder box, and then I butcher them, and then they go in the tractor, and it's a cycle, and I'll start with that. And then build up a little bit of a customer base around here to sell our surplus chicken and make sure our freezers are full and all that kind of stuff. It's been a busy year, and it's going to be, bro, if we find a piece of property that's like raw land, like I'm talking woods, it's about to get even harder next year, because I'll be doing this, the other one, while we're still living here, I'll be taking care of this place, the other place up the road, and I'll be logging the new place so I can clear enough of a place for us to pull, because what our plan would be is, this is what we're thinking about, is you get a piece of raw land that's woods, and if it's woods, I can take those logs and turn that into money, and that can pay for putting in the well or the septic tank and all that kind of stuff. So I log enough to where we got a building plot basically, and then we can pull in an RV or a trailer or something and get the well dug and the septic and all that kind of stuff. And then once we're there, I can clear more and start logging that, or whatever I don't log, I can sell as firewood or whatever, what have you. And then we build our fucking house, and then I log some more. And so imagine what I'm doing now plus that. So,
I mean,
and I'm going on 40.
Just clearing the land for your property is going to bring you a lot to start with. And then you've got deadfall in the back parts of it, that's good too for firewood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took me, I think, a couple of months to clear about an acre at our other property up the road.
Yeah,
and that's just doing it on like Saturdays and Sundays and stuff.
Yeah, and that was just when you had time, not full time.
Right, not full time. So yeah. And
please don't die this coming year, okay?
I can't die. I've got a little daughter. I refuse to die.
All right.
I got to make it till at least she's grown. So, no, I can't. You can't kill me. So, I recognize. Okay, so this is how I am now.
You're pickled. That's why you won't die. You're
pretty much pickled. Yeah. I was like twice as bad as in my 20s, like an insane person with doing stuff. I have to be doing stuff all the time. So I've actually like chilled out. This is me like doing much less than I ever have in my entire life. So like I actually will take a few hours or whatever and just do nothing and play with the kids. Whereas like when I was in my 20s, it was just fucking dark till dark every single day. So, no, but I have a problem. And I realize that. So I have to like force myself to rest sometimes, but, my body is not what it used to be. But I can still, I say that, but I've got 20-year-olds working for me and they can't keep up with me. So there's that.
Well, the state of 20-year-olds these days is pretty pathetic. So,
yeah, that's one thing I will say. I'm a business owner and I got a couple of people working for me, but I'm not one of those business owners that like just has a clipboard and points. Like I will literally outwork anybody that works for me, like, so I don't ever, in some sense they respect me for that. So I don't know.
This generation is just like Dorito inhaling recliners that game all day long.
Yeah.
Present company excluded if you're like 30 or something,
I'm 39, so maybe I am that generation. I don't know, but yeah. So that's what
I'm
that's
30,
what we've been
I'm
up
36.
to, and that's what. youngins, bunch of youngins.
Yeah, well,
We
I feel
just
about the
wee
work thing.
babies.
The way I feel about the work thing is that, I mean, anybody with half a brain and half a sense, and doesn't have any other kind of things, a record or something, they're trying to get a job tapping on computers, and I think that's I think in the long term prospects that's on its way out, and so that's a lot. That's a lot. A lot of these tasks, especially on the lower end, which a lot of these people are. I mean, work for home, playing on computers, extends
Hey,
down.
that's me
There's
you're
many
talking about.
there's many but you're a creative, and you create in a sense in a digital space, and really though there are many tiers of that, also in terms of salary, but also in terms of like ability, the human influence, the ability to be automated. And so
Yeah, but if you're
it's
learning to
obviously proving
code,
a lot
that's one
easier.
thing. But if you're just tapping on buttons for being programmed to do something, that's one thing. But if you're coding and actually developing things that are valuable, then yeah, it's a different thing.
Yes, of course, and especially if you're running, a process from start to finish, a project from start to finish, basically. But anyways, like, yeah, there are things that need to be done that are not as easily automated. So that's one of my outlooks. But I suppose I'm saying basically is that there's there's less, hopefully, I would say there's less competition in really doing what I do and doing it competently and reliably. I mean, there's a reliability even when it comes to some low value things like cutting lawn. There's a reliability aspect, and some places have some pretty strict HOAs. So if you get in with those, they really need to get that regularity. But in the long term prospects, I think unless we have a major societal shift and things go into a totally bad direction for society as a whole, which at that point, like my own personal prospects is there's a lot more going on than that. I think that I think there's kind of a path forward for things to do involve human creativity and ingenuity, even when they're not seen as they're seen as fairly low skill, at least on the outset, like a low skill kind of occupation. But how much ingenuity and human sort of subjectivity and what's the possibility of being automated? I think the calculus and those things changes at our level of technology, because like AI has become, it went from being a thing that's kind of in the ether, it exists on a lower level, machine learning algorithm, and all of a sudden it gets released and it's free and plentiful and infinite. Like I mean, it's obviously they're coming out with AI that's not released to the public. That's but like the AI that gets released to the public, they release these machine learning things, and there are like generally AI, whether it's AI art generators or AI this and that. And I just see them on my Twitter timeline, so I can see what they're capable of with the different prompts and so forth. But it's like that's infinitely inexpensive. They're just free. You can just do it. And I'm sure there's more sophisticated ones you can pay for, but like that's going to change outlooks a lot, because I know what I want to get into. What a lot of people do for a living now, even entry level jobs, a lot of people do, a work for home or information based economy thing. And I think some of those, a lot less than what you do, BJ, but some of that workforce is going to go away. So I feel kind of secure in my prospects and outlooks. I don't think what I do is going to go away, at least not into the immediate future. Now, with the demographic trend lines and boomers, as the boomers age out of being able to kind of take care of their home maintenance, that's a good thing for me. Long-term prospects. Eventually,
Absolutely.
I don't know where that's going to go down the line. Wait, what did you say?
I just said absolutely. I mean, just in terms of maintenance alone, maybe it's not creative work that you're doing, but it's maintenance, and you're good at that, and that's always going to be in demand for people that insist on having lawns and shit.
It requires a human touch. You can communicate with somebody a lot more easily. You can communicate. We can actually have a human to human communication, and not that I'm just doing even easily automated with tasks, but like you can have a human to human conversation. There's also infinite variations of what can be done, and you know what I mean. It's just like I said, the cost of automating information based stuff is becoming so infinitesimally low because basically, you know, it's just at the end of the day, it's just electrons, and there's no like fixed cost to a lot of those things. I don't know. I think the prospects are pretty good, and maybe we'll end up with some kind of cool agorist we can all like homestead and make grow fish in our basements and stuff in the future. I don't know, but that's long-term prospects. Short-term, I think it'll be incrementally easier to do a lot of our projects with a lot of the tech that's kind of lowers the cost of putting into whether it's our businesses or our, you know, on the side homesteading endeavors.
You know what would be awesome is if ChatGPT would just draw from like fucking Konkin and shit.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's so. Yes. Oh, I mentioned Nextcloud before. There's AI integrations for Nextcloud, and Jamin has already. Jamin's on it. I've been annoyed by the AI shit too, but he's been using it. He's got a bunch of like documentation for the ghost pads and stuff, and Jamin's like the super intelligent like hardware hacker, and to communicate with like normies on like why this technology is important is not his thing. So he has like this endless documentation. And he's been basically putting it into AI to try to make it like readable for the average person. So like he's utilizing this stuff to like severely save him time. So it's I told him, I guess I got to actually look into this now. And there's a guy here at Pasnia who wants to same thing with Konkin. He wants to have like the Rayo GPT and input. I've got everything that Rayo wrote from the 1960s to the 1974 when he disappeared, and basically you input everything, like all of the inputs, and then you can ask it a question and it'll generate an answer based off of what he wrote in those publications. So the same thing could easily be done with Konkin. So yeah, it's not something I'm super I'm starting to get interested in it. Regrettably, I didn't want to, but it is something that needs to be paid on, and not in like the artificial intelligence sense, just that like you're writing algorithms for computers to do the work for you using processing power. We don't have to be mystical about it. Like it's not like it's not like creating new humans or something like that, new intelligences. But yeah, anyway,
that's sweet, dude. I mean, I think ChatGPT has been helpful for a lot of people just to like do research or whatever, but also at the same time, it's fed all the crap you and I probably spent our lives unlearning. You know, it's a lot of propaganda, a lot of stuff that's biased towards X or Y, and it's like, the fuck out of here, you know?
I, for one, welcome our Google overlords.
Okay, NPC.
Yeah, I know they're listening to me right now, and I just don't want an Amazon drone to crash into my house.
Trying to massage them like a good dog. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Skynet. All right, sorry. We should wrap this up soon, but same question to Gonzo, Penguin, and BJ. Are you optimistic about the future? What do you feel about this state of humanity? And I mean, are we all going to die in a nuclear holocaust? What's going on?
No, I'm 100% white pill. I spent the first 4 years of becoming libertarian and not knowing what the fuck I was with this giant black pill attitude, and I've had enough. You know, I wake up every day and I'm excited. So.
Well, I don't know. I have a mixture of feelings, and I think the way that I'm going to handle it is the same way that I have been for years. I guess I'm due to the new property. I'm going to be shifting out of homesteading and getting back more into a bunker mentality, trying to make this place as self-sufficient as I can. You know, making sure that I have fallback systems and I'm covered in every way possible because, you know, there's hundreds of acres I can hunt. There are lakes and rivers I can fish. Like that's pretty good, but I'm going to try to diversify, kind of take all the skills that I've learned, you know, in the last couple decades from doing hardscaping to doing, you know, building and fabricating and automation. Try to take all those skills and apply it to this property and possibly get a little bit of notoriety, maybe a little bit of money by recording that process, because there are a lot of people that would rather sit and watch shit on YouTube rather than do it. So if I'm the guy doing it and I put it on YouTube and those people want to give me money, well, I'm not going to tell them no. And I'm going to continue networking like we have been. We're going to bring back Bohemian Grove, which is where I met Sec the first time. We threw an event down in Kentucky, and Sec came up, and then he started Chilluminati, and I want to keep that momentum moving, and keep meeting our tribe, you know, not just on the fucking internet, but actually in person, meeting, networking, and building that network. So while I'm optimistic for us, I would say that I'm a little pessimistic for the normies. I think shit's going to get a lot harder if you aren't awake, aware, and prepared. I do see it getting harder for them, but as for us, I think we're going to be fine.
Fuck, my mic wouldn't unmute. Yeah, I mean, in some sense, as it gets worse, it might even get better for us. You know, like I've said this before, the worse it gets, the more it's going to push people out to the edges. And that's where we are. So the more people we have out on the edges, the more we can build things and networks ourselves, you know? And, you know, I think it sucks that that's the way it has to go. But I think that overall, over time, that's kind of how it's going to go, and it's going to work to our benefit, oddly enough. You know, I just hope it doesn't, you know, another plague doesn't hit, or fucking nukes don't go off before then. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think I'm overall optimistic. Life is fucking good. Like, I'm doing all right. My family's good. My friends are good. You know, like everything, everybody I know is fucking going. So, you guys are distracting me with the chat. So
it's fucking BJ. It's all your fault.
It's all your fault. Penguin, what about you, man? Are you like over not just like your own stuff, but like the state of the fucking human race? Are you optimistic?
You know, mixed feelings, same way. Obviously, that's usually the case. It's mixed. But I guess where I would fall on that, you know, it depends on what you're talking about. As far as, you know, I guess this country, or maybe, you know, where I live, or the stuff that I interact with, I think things don't look like they're in any kind of great danger, except for, you know, the election. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of secretly hoping they I mean, I want Trump to go as far as he can go, because I secretly do want to hope that they try to steal it from him. I'm not saying that
we were talking about that last time you and I chatted, Penguin.
I'm actually was not reading. Yeah, I mean they have to. So let's see what happens. I kind of just want to see the shit hit the fan. Maybe that's probably
people
not
screaming in the street again.
Hopefully it's just that it's just enough to be entertaining, I guess. But and hopefully I'm somehow shielded from all of that, and I maybe could be, and potentially that could actually happen. Minneapolis, or I don't know if it's close to where you're from. That whole, any kind of city like that, yeah, good luck. But hopefully I'd be just totally shielded from it.
I'm safely buffered from all the shit that happens in Minneapolis. I'm kind of almost in the suburbs / woods. I mean, it's
you're not quite there.
If you wanted to go visit the George Floyd Square, it's like a 40-minute drive from me, if that makes any difference to you.
well, yeah, I've never been there. I don't know what it's like. I just know it's cold, too cold for me. But yeah, I am kind of, I don't know. For the responsible part of me is actually kind of happy that things are. This is the kind of duality, right? The responsible part of me is happy that things are relatively stable and prosperous in this relative world peace. I mean, I guess. I mean, I obviously my heart is obviously just torn and rendered with the situation. It's just situation in Gaza and Palestine. But as far as the world absolutely going and becoming in world conflict and death and destruction everywhere. Happy that we don't have to face some sort of apocalypse, not trying to see that in my life, obviously. But part of me does say, like maybe we need a little bit of a release and something where I would like to see the political cycle, in this country. I mean, it's just such a toxic, bad politics that I just hate so god awfully much. But there be some kind of reckoning, I think, for this leadership class and this kind of, I don't know, this kind of this political impasse. It's both like a uniparty and two really stupid sides that are, I mean, we can go on and on about this, but I'd like to see just a little bit of chaos. I'm not so much that edgy Twitter poster where I'm a chaos anarchist, chaos appreciator, or all that stuff. But this is one of those situations where I think maybe a little bit of chaos is called for. But that could just me being irresponsible, an irresponsible middle-aged person, I guess.
No, I think I agree with your last point. I mean, because I think there are a lot of people who are like, feel some type of way and like get mad online, but like in real life, I don't see a lot of people like ready to fling themselves off a cliff with inflation and stuff like that that's happening. Like, I think people are getting a little more subservient again, and I think it is time for a little chaos just to see, I want to stand by the sidelines with some popcorn, like see people kind of wake up to shit, if that makes sense. I hate using the word wake up, but there's a lot
woke.
There's a lot of subservience again. People are, after the 3 years that we just had from hell with the public health bullshit and government bullshit, people are just kind of like easing back into being like normal again, if that makes sense. And it's like, yeah, some stuff needs to be shaken up a little bit, but at the same time, I'm positive and I'm hopeful. And one thing I wanted to report too is like in Europe, it's like people think that, all the CDBC stuff, I think, is really the only vaguely real threat, I think, that we need to be worried too much about. But at the same time, it's like everybody I talk to over there about it, who's like open-minded politically, is kind of like, it's not going to take off because people love cash. The government itself loves cash. All governments everywhere love cash. And so, they can continue their money printer and all that shit. And it's like, I just don't see it taking off. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, what can I do to prepare for it and be avoidant of it? And that's like, to me, that's the only real thing right now that's on the forefront that I see them trying to fucking do. It's already sort of happening in some places where they're like, trying to get people to adopt a real ID. And there's a lot of hashtags out there with like love gov and like bank fed something.
Yeah.
All these, if you look at some of these fucking hashtags, it's like, oh my God.
I've never seen that.
A lot of the ABC agencies. Well, the reason I know about it is because I got my mom's tax refund check in the mail last month, and it had a little flyer in it with fucking, I threw it away. I was so mad at the fucking thing. Anyway, my point is, when I was in Germany, people just fucking would look at you funny if you try to use your card for stuff. And like, they just like roll their eyes and like accept your card, but they would have preferred, when you're at a food truck or a small shop or something, they would just prefer cash because it costs them a lot of money. It costs them even more over there to process stuff with like a POS system than it does us. And then they have conversion rates. So because I'm, stupid American, then it costs them even more because of my conversion rate, because I'm using a US bank card, things like that. So on one hand, I'm hopeful about this banking thing, but on the other hand, it's like, okay, what can we do, to like stand up and say, fuck off, this isn't happening. I mean, I do my best. When I get paid, I get the cash right out of my bank account as much as I can. I'm saving it instead of in the bank. I'm saving it here. I'm circulating it in the local economy. You know what I mean? It's like, that's, I guess,
Mm.
the one thing that makes me a little nervous.
Are
But
you
everybody that I talk
investing
to, but everybody
heavily?
that I talk to who's not a fucking status is like, it's not going to happen.
BJ, you need to be investing heavily in the pickle schmeckle.
Yes. I was already thinking about that. I was waiting for her to finish talking.
You know what? I know that popped up and I forgot all about it. So yeah,
I created my own currency for our own
I
pickle
know.
economy here.
I know, but I don't know anybody locally that accepts it yet.
You
It's
don't
only
give
a
them the
matter of
option.
time.
No,
It's
you guys
only-
Be
forget.
careful.
You guys forget that I'm in the land of the jerky economy. So
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Well, there's some crossover there, though. You know what I mean?
I might have to introduce my fellow anarchists locally here to your schmeckles. And I'm sorry, that sounded like a "that's what she said" moment.
Yeah.
But I agree, Penguin. I understand why it's like it's easy to be on the fence about like being positive versus fuck what's going on. Are we gonna be alive tomorrow? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good segue too. I do want to touch on like where I am kind of moved politically, and that's one
Before
of the reasons
sex
is
leaves
because
in a rage.
yeah, but this is no, but what you brought up about CBDCs and inflation, and, implicitly the Fed and all that stuff is I want to say since we haven't been podcasting as much lately, I think this is we have a very similar seasonal schedules here. Politically, I've always been in flux ever since I started the podcast before, after, and so forth. I mean, really, my focus now is not so much on the explicitly anarchist stuff, or kind of focusing on that what you said, that black pill mentality. It's not always so. Basically, I am an enemy of the state, and I'm trying to bring about chaos and everything. And I've just been taking in a lot of information, regardless of its label associations, who says what. Just kind of becoming more knowledgeable and just being around discourse, and being around discourse this interesting. But as far as like political stuff and political and society, and kind of the more political side of things, it's society, culture, like religion and stuff like that. Very important stuff. And increasingly important. I'm going back to some of that stuff as well. But as far as actual political stuff, very much have a newfound appreciation of kind of those parts of the kind of the American right that we have some sort of connection with, as far as Ron Paul and the whole kind of anti-Fed, and the fact that those things can actually be said somewhere, sort of goes to in a mainstream outlet, or if he's in a mainstream outlet, if there's an election year going on or something like that. But some of that real kind of populist energy, the Fed is the problem, that there's market manipulation, inflation, something that affects literally everyone. So it's the number one populist issue. And the whole idea that this whole kind of libertarian kind of economics thing, I know a lot of people are down on economics, and a lot of people are going off what they see as bigger and more important things. But I do think it's literally, and maybe this is kind of the way I'm going to frame this, is really kind of where I'm at. I do think that it's a real social justice issue. The way that this kind of the government actually, or the state, the super state, I should say. I think I'm going to start trying to use that word super state to say the state at its largest level controls the currency and is able to control the money printer, and also enforce the use of the currency worldwide through the military, which somehow gets into this circular effect where you have to then print the money to support the huge military, and you have to have the whole huge military to support the currency, and then it's like a just back and forth circle. But I think this destructive thing, and so in basically all of our domestic issues, and then with what I just described, all of our like international issues, so basically most of it, the vast majority of it, can be tied back to this situation. But the fact that it does actually like impoverish us, it does keep our real wages and our purchasing power down. It really does hurt us as people that are in cash economy, and then are at the whim of people that can just make decisions with money. And your standard arguments about concentrated benefits for some people versus cost of the society. What's the number one way cost goes to society is when you like kill the purchasing power of every single dollar out there. And that's the thing that we have to use to buy things. And there's like, we live in capitalism, so we exchange money for things. So the fact that you can have like the control of that and then actually degrade it in a certain way, while enriching some people that happen to be, your cronies, your people you meet with and everything. And I've definitely talked to people that falls on deaf ears, but I think there's at some point one thing I literally do think it's a social justice issue. I mean, I don't see how it's like not the social justice issue, because it literally does not affect one identity group or one group. It affects you if you have a lot of money, obviously in a certain way. It affects you if you have a little money, a little income, if you have in a certain way, and depending on how you look at it, if you in absolute terms or in relative terms to your income or to your savings or net worth. And it's like it just ties, because it funds not only the actions of the government and then the government contractors and all this stuff, but it funds basically all of big corporations. Like the thing that you have to understand is this whole like in the Fed stuff goes on to like corporate dominance and the dominance of like multinational institutions and multinational corporations as well. And the whole idea of like, I've gotten off of this whole thing, like we should all be doing like, not that we literally need to implement neighborhood technology or community technology or like neighborhood, like we need to go necessarily down to level and destroy all corporations and loot them and steal from them and like destroy all. The corporation can't exist in a libertarian society or whatever. Well, it probably can't exist because you need these money printers to keep these organizations up. So it's like it all comes back to this Fed, and it's stuff that's actually been out there. And I think that pro-market ideas in some senses are kind of down because they're kind of down on the left and the right. But I think there's a place to recapture a certain populist energy if you can frame this stuff not as like we need business people to run things, because it's not really how libertarian works. You don't get a bunch of $1 billion from billionaires, just like those 2 billionaires, right? But yeah, it's not the ideology of billionaires. It is the ideology that could have been the ideology. I was just listening to a podcast saying, they had a chance to get the Bernie bros and the libertarians in the same room to try to remake the Fed or whatever, and they obviously kind of broke that up with what happened with Occupy, and we talked about that so many times. We don't have to go into that, but it's like I do think of it as a social. I think of this as a social justice issue, and the broadest social.
It absolutely is, because whether you have money or not, it's money is an issue for everybody.
And in Israel, Palestine, that's all money being printed, and all these other issues. It just doesn't. It just 100%. Never ends. So I'm really kind of just into that whole thing, and if I don't need to see a total revolutionary making of society. I don't know how you're really going to reform this. I don't know the path for without some kind of great shocks that are like life changing for all of us. Like I don't know how you reform this politically.
I think just the more people that are paying attention to stuff that's just wrong, the more people are going to stand up and say, I'm going to do this shit myself, fuck all these people. And it's trickling down. Like people are revolutionizing themselves in their own homes. They're not out in the streets doing shit. You know what I mean? It's like people are just figuring shit out because they're getting burnt left and right by systems and everything. And speaking of, libertarians and shit, it's like, okay, it's really cool that the prime minister of what is it, Argentina or whatever, he wants to deregulate all corporations as one of his first acts in office. And it's like, okay, cool. But like in 4 years when he's ousted, then what? It's like there's still no political solutions to all the bullshit. Right. I mean, on one hand, you got your libertarians on Twitter that are like, yeah, it's like, fuck yeah, it's a big white pill, right? It's awesome, right? But it's only so much. And so, I just wanted to kind of comb that into what you were just talking about, Penguin.
I'll be shocked if that dude isn't assassinated in the next year. I don't think he makes 4.
Oh, I think he loves the U.S. dollar enough that he'll be fine. But
yeah, it's a weird dynamic actually when you're not American and libertarian. That unfortunately the best path forward usually, which is crazy, but the best path forward is like just being as pro-American, pro-dollar as possible, which is probably true because every other currency sucks so much worse than the dollar, even though we sit here in the capital of libertarianism and we hate it so much. So it really is probably, I mean, I'm just putting myself in his shoes. I mean, I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt. Like, he's a weird guy. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's like a extreme pro-Zionist. It talks to the ghost of his dead dog. So like,
yeah,
you know, yeah. Well, that's all I was going to say about that. But there's a whole discussion to have about libertarians and Americans. But yeah, he does that apparently. So,
well, hey, I gotta go get back to work.
Memes come out of it. Hopefully, some cool memes come out of it anyway. I said, hopefully, some cool memes come out of it anyway.
Yeah. Well, hey, I gotta run. But to everybody here and everybody listening, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Solstice, New Year's, whatever you guys celebrate. What? Solstice is in like 3 days. Yeah.
I said Festivus.
Festivus. Yeah. The holiday for the
I had a lot of problems with you people. Now it's time to air my grief.
I celebrate not working a month.
Yeah, me too.
Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Does anybody want to plug something before you go?
You can follow the house at the Grateful Grotto on Twitter, Instagram, and all that shit. If you want to see the shenanigans.
Grateful Grotto?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'll give that a follow.
See what I get up to.
If you're on the off chance you're listening and you're in the Twin Cities area of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the surrounding metro, you can hit us up at tcfreedomcell.com, and we welcome you to join us in future meetings, and anything that we have happening is posted there regularly.
Awesome. Well, thanks y'all for coming, talking with us. This has been fun. And everybody be excellent to each other. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Yeah, ciao.
Peace.
Thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
You too. See you, Gonzo.
Later.